You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's After Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. We are today, it's actually our first day. Susie Castillo here. I'm joined with my lovely co-host, Shandi Finnessey, and we are going to be talking about Game of Crowns. It's the new Bravo show. I'm sure you guys have been watching, and it's kind of crazy.
And I have to say, the reason we're starting with Eye of the Tiger is because these girls are basically battling it out in Game of Crowns. But the reason that Susie and I feel like we are entitled or deserving of talking about Game of Crowns is because Susie was Miss USA in 2003. Susie crowned me Miss USA in 2004. And together, we have a company called Pageantology.
That's
where
right.
we deal with all the wacko pageant people on a daily basis.
Daily basis.
Train them and coach them and prepare them for their own pageants.
Yes.
So,
And let me just say that some of these ladies can use some pageantology in their lives.
or just a good face wash.
Oh, man. The amount of makeup that these women wear. I would just love to spend an hour taking some of that off and just showing them that they don't need that much makeup.
That and like it just seemed so artificial and like trying so hard, and I constantly am reminded every day in the entertainment business, but also in the pageant business, about how so many women just feel like they're not enough. They're not thin enough. They're not pretty enough. They're not young enough. They're just not enough. And these women were just such that example of that. Like all the makeup that was on and all the Botox. Like some of the faces just didn't move, and they would be so much prettier if they just sort of aged
and the
gracefully.
duck lips. Did you notice the duck lips?
Yeah, you could like sit a drink on there, and then the blue hair, which we'll get into in a minute. But you know, I have to say, the only person that I was like, I would be your friend, I like you, is Shelley, who was Miss America in 2011.
Mrs. Shelley. Mrs. America.
Mrs. America in 2011.
Yes. She's got 3 kids.
And
she seems like the only one that has like her head on her shoulders, like facing the right way, right? Like the other ones have their head on their shoulders, but I don't know which way. I don't know which way they're facing.
That's really, well, a lot of them are two-faced.
True.
They've got 2 of them.
That's so true.
And I have to say though, so Shelley, she said in the beginning of this episode that, you know, she's held all these titles, whatever. The best title was being mother and wife.
Yes, I like that, and I had to continue watching the episode because I thought that could just be something that she's just saying
like her
to look good on
answer.
TV. Yeah, her pageant answer. Exactly, that's her world piece now that she's competing in the Mrs. category. But yeah, I kind of got the sense that she really did mean that. You know, she was very concerned when she walked into the fashion show. You know, she was like, what am I getting my kids into? Her kids were the only normal ones there, by the way, because kids don't really behave that way.
You're so right. And she was shocked. And I think that she removes herself from all the drama and all the craziness that some of the women have. So moving into the fashion show.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. All of a sudden I was like, are we watching Toddlers and Tiaras?
Yeah.
Like, what?
You can see, and it's so funny because you can see so clearly how maybe the kids have been, I get a strong sense that the kids have been molded by their pageant moms, you know? Like, because now they're such stage moms, you know? Susanna is like crazy stage mom with Bella.
You're so right. Because Susanna, I actually wrote this down. She said, this is her quote, talking about her daughter, Bella. Yeah. Where did she come from? I mean, I want to be like that. And I was like, that's it.
Exactly.
You are like that because you're a pageant mom and you're living vicariously through your younger, thinner, whatever daughter.
Yeah.
You're living vicariously through her. So you are morphing her into what you want to be. So of course you want to be that.
What did you think of the song? The
LOL.
LOL.
LOL. Well, first of all, what someone said at one point, they introduced her as the most famous girl in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Rhode Island's a small state, but
I mean, it could be a real statement, but come on. I think it's okay. So I wanted to talk about the song because I don't know. I don't think Susanna's doing her child any favors.
Oh my gosh,
But
no.
she's teaching her vengeance. She's teaching, like, the song is about getting back to all these people. It's like, who are you getting back to?
And it's also a huge
You're
point.
like 5 years old.
You're so right. A huge point about that song as well is saying, like, I am good enough now because look at all the money I have.
Yeah.
And I got $2,000 in my bank account overnight while I was sleeping. I
oh.
own this jewelry line, and everything is about money. And it's
and
like
things,
money
and things,
materialism, and it's just showing. I mean, these poor girls are growing up in a family where they think, you know, being beautiful enough makes you validated in who you are,
right?
And then having things is success,
right? Having money, having things, the jewelry line, all that. What else did she say she had? Was it just a jewelry line?
No, something in New York. There was a line about something in New York.
And the most successful model, the most famous little girl in all of Rhode Island. I just think Susanna's creating a monster.
Well, and that's why I liked
poor child.
Shelley's reaction sitting in the audience. She was like, where am I?
Yeah.
And I loved that because it was just finally some sanity. And I was thinking, you know, when they probably cast for this show, they're probably like, you're a head case, definitely. You're crazy, definitely. You have a lot of drama, definitely. And they're like, oh, Shelley's normal. Like, what do you think? They have to have somebody who grounds the show.
Sure.
And
Shelley definitely does that. So far, she's been that person.
Do you think we're ever going to get some drama out of Shelley?
I think at some point we may see Shelley kind of go at it with some of the other moms. Maybe Susanna, actually. Because it already seems like she doesn't want to participate. Like, she very much seemed like she didn't want to participate in that fashion show, you know. But Susanna kind of, like, guilted her into it. Like, well, oh, Bella really wants the girls to be there and walk in her show. And, you know, she kind of laid it on thick, like the guilt, you know. And I think put Shelley, you know, kind of up against the corner, and Shelley had no choice but to be like, yeah, I'll bring the girls.
You're
but
right.
You can tell she didn't really want to.
Well, and it
She didn't
also
wanna bring
all
her.
took place over the tea party when she was inviting
That's right.
her. And can we
It
just
did.
talk about Bella eating so much sugar? It was like Honey Boo Boo in her go-go juice.
I know. And she's doing this. She's
Yeah.
with her pinky.
But Bella, like, somebody needs to get that girl under control now because
She needs some vegetables.
heading into this disaster pretty fast.
But what did you think about that? So speaking of the tea party, when they were in the tea, it was Lynne's tea salon, which is kind of hilarious too, that she has a tea salon in her house.
Yeah.
That's the least of the problems, right? But, you know, Susanna was making comments about Bella, like, we're teaching her how to be fancy and, you know, how to sip her tea with her pinky out, and she does the whole double kissing thing, and it's like, what are you, British? You're not British, like, you're French.
Well, they had them talk in British accents.
They did.
So, you know, well, what's crazy to me is like, well, okay, I'm teaching her how to be fancy. Okay, there is a way to teach your child class.
Yeah.
Like, teach them which utensils to use and start from the outside in, how to sit properly in the chair, how to greet another adult, how to introduce yourself, things like that. Does a pinky up over a cup of tea make you fancy or classy?
No, because she got up from the table 2 seconds later and was like doing cartwheels and like
she was like
stupid stuff.
breakdancing and doing the Running Man.
Yeah.
It was like the child had go-go juice. It was like Honey Boo Boo.
But none of the other kids, the crazy thing is that the other kids were also eating and drinking the same thing that she was for whatever reason. I think it's just her personality.
She had more sugar though, because the other girl actually took the sugar. She's like, okay, enough of that. Another toddler took away your jar of sugar.
Yeah, I think it was one of Shelley's girls.
Yeah.
One of Shelley's kids was like, you've had enough sugar. Like, enough with the sugar. She thought. I was like, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's crazy. I don't know. It will be interesting in future episodes to see what happens with Bella. Like,
yes.
What directions she takes with such wonderful guidance in
the
her
last
life.
thing this girl needs in her life, I think, is cameras in her face to make her think that she's even more famous than what apparently. I need to, like, go to Rhode Island and do a survey amongst the people.
Yeah, who
Rhode
really-
Islanders. Do you guys know
I would
Bella?
like to just talk with Bella. I would love to have Bella talk to me for 10 minutes. Like, let me hear what your life is like, what your school is like. If you have a best friend, why is that girl your best friend? What do you value in another girlfriend? What are you looking for in life? Where do you see your life as you get older,
Bella, you call us, girlfriend. I'm like, she could be our first, maybe one of our first guests. That'd be awesome if she could be a guest. Bella, we're putting the invitation out there. Come join us one of these days.
Tea.
Yeah.
We'll drink tea with our fingers up.
We want the most famous kid in Rhode Island in this room with us.
Hilarious. So I also want to say, by the way, we were talking about Shelley. Another one early in the beginning that we saw was Lorianne and John. Now, Lorianne, she said that she was 29. I don't know if she really was or not. But she says that she's not the typical pageant girl. We watched her in one of the last episodes where she competed in a pageant and she didn't place. And she says, you know, maybe I'm not the pageant mold, but I want to break out of that mold. And I want to be, like, show them I can break out of that mold. I had a problem with that because I'm like, usually when you break the mold, that means it's because you're better and bigger and you go beyond.
Yes, you're exceptional.
You don't break it because, like, I can be crass. And even her husband called her a trucker.
Right.
You know, that's
Truck
not something
driver.
to be, yeah, that's not something to boast about and be proud of. And she's just, you know, she's lacking a little refinement. And then, you know, so now for her new pageant that she's entering soon, the Mrs. New England pageant, she says she wants to get in, like, tip-top shape, so she has her husband training her, and then when she finishes, is like, well, you clean everything up, like, I'm paying you.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just, like...
There's a little diva attitude there that
a little
needs
diva
to be,
attitude, and I feel like there's so many women want to, like, I don't know, we just need to get back to being ladies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, with the pageantology, they need to come see us.
Yeah, right? Sign up for a workshop.
That would be an amazing episode, actually, on the show. Like, pageantology busts in to Game of Crowns to teach them how to win a pageant.
You're so right.
Right?
You know what? You just hit the nail on the
Shelley
head.
doesn't need it.
Well,
because Shelley was already
and she's got the
Mrs.
class.
America.
And here's the thing, is that Shelley, maybe she has had work done, but she looks classic, classy. She looks like timeless beauty. And that is the girl that's going to win. And I think we run into so many girls when we're training pageant girls that think, oh, I get it. Like, I have to duct tape my boobs together for really big cleavage. And I need to be, like, really, really tan and even spray on, like ab muscles that don't exist in order to win the pageant. And I have to have the perfect dress to win the pageant. And I have to have these hair extensions to win the pageant. And it's like, you couldn't be further from the truth.
Right.
Like, get rid of all of that and then just be confident in yourself and who you are, and be relatable and be the girl who, you know, if you have at a cocktail party and you have a glass of wine, you bump into someone, they're just so interesting to talk to.
Yeah.
That's the girl that's going to win.
Absolutely. You don't need blue hair to stand out. You don't need 10 pounds of makeup, of eye makeup. You just need to take the best parts of yourself and put that out there. You know, you don't want to stand out in a negative way, because that's what ends up happening with, you know, Lynne and her blue hair and, you know, Lorianne with her crassness. It's like, do you really want a girl representing this brand, whatever pageant it is, you know, because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing as a pageant, you know, as a beauty queen, you're representing the brand of the pageant. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to send you out on an appearance and, you know, possibly have you drop some F-bombs.
Yeah. In
front of children, or God only knows who's going to be there. You know,
so right.
That's not the kind of girl that's going to win a pageant.
Speaking of blue hair, so Lynne said at one point that someone had told her the day before something, you look like a cross between Heather Locklear and a Smurf. Yeah. And she was, like, proud of it. Like, yeah, Heather Locklear and a Smurf.
That's exactly what I want to look like.
I was like, what? Like, if someone said that to me, I would be offended and want to change something about the way that I look.
You mean you don't want blue hair, Shandi? You would look amazing in blue hair.
You know, I do have blue eyes, so it could bring out my eyes a little bit. But
I think it would.
I think I can pass. I'll just use blue eyeshadow.
You have to go to Rhode Island to her hairstylist, that salon.
Yeah.
Where apparently they do that sort of thing. I love how she's about to compete in a pageant and she's like, oh my God, I got to go fix my blue hair. Like, she needs to, that's the first thing on her agenda.
It will be interesting to watch next week's show, because I'm assuming that's when they're actually going to compete in the pageant, and see how she does.
That's what it looked like. Yeah. With the blue hair. We'll see.
Because, you know, Lynne didn't do so, wait, no, not, yeah, no? Lorianne didn't do so well in the last one. And now she's trying to get more in shape and toned up.
Yeah. Well, she made the top 10, right?
No. Lorianne? She didn't make anything.
She didn't.
You're thinking...
I'm thinking of Leha.
Leha.
Okay, Leha didn't make the top 5. She made the top 10.
Or top 15, whatever the first cut was.
The first cut. Yikes.
Yikes. So moving on to her, actually, Leha.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot to talk about.
So much drama
on this side.
That's crazy.
So,
and I didn't know her husband was a cop. Like, that makes everything so much worse.
So let me just say this, and I know you all are going to be like, I can't believe you just said that, and we're probably going to get hate mail. But a quote that I've always heard, and granted, it's a joke, it's stereotypes, but it's cops beat, firemen cheat in relationships.
Oh my God.
Isn't that ugly? It's so ugly. Because I actually dated a fireman way back in the day, and I remember people saying that, and he was like a bit of a player.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So when they were like, he's a cop, I was like, oh, that doesn't fend well for your defense. Oh. Now, I think that he is a great guy. I do not think that, well, I wouldn't say great guy, but I don't think that he is physically abusive.
We'll see. I mean, I think, honestly, at first I was like, is Leha like the drama queen? Could that be happening in her house? I mean, we don't know, right? We don't live there.
It doesn't.
But I hope not, right? But I think in this whole scenario, after everything was said and done, Lynne is the one who I think is the biggest liar. I don't know why.
100%.
My gut does not trust Lynne. Everything that comes out of her mouth and what she actually does are like conflicting.
Have you ever known anyone with blue hair who you can trust?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So, but before we even get into that meeting that Lynne and Leha had, first Leha meets up with Susanna, with both of their husbands. And can we first talk about Susanna showing up in a full-on beaded gown, like a competition gown.
Like she's going to the Oscars. And she's just having like a normal dinner.
Yeah. You know, and
she's a stage mom.
She's a
Susanna
stage mom.
is like the perfect stereotypical stage mom who, you know, she didn't become famous, she didn't win the big crown, and now she is like desperately, I mean, she's living through her daughter, and the poor thing she's gonna be a mess when she gets older.
But
I think.
Yeah, and wearing that guy, I mean, I just imagine if I was inside of Susanna's head, she's thinking like, girl, I am going to be on national TV on Game of Crowns. We are going out to dinner, so I'm going out fancy.
Right.
Like, I'm going to call
Everybody
up
else
my
has
designer.
jeans on.
Yeah.
Like, totally normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She came, like, ready to get her 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. Full makeup.
So, let's start off. So, the reason that they got into the fight is because Susanna made a bet on how Leha would place the pageant.
Right.
And then Leha,
and she was betting against her.
She was betting against her.
Right.
So when she didn't move forward, she was like, yeah, I'm all happy. I would be devastated if I was competing in a pageant and you bet against me and then was like high-five and all excited that that didn't happen. Like, friends just don't do that.
No.
Even if you don't think they're going to do well, you don't make money off of it.
Right. Right. I mean, it's very clear that they're not friends, you know, and I suppose this is why they're on the show, right? It's like backstabbing. Somebody said this person said that, and there's no truth anywhere. There's no clarity. I mean, halfway through, we're watching the episode, and I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, who? Like, why?
Whodunit? Like a game of whodunit.
Yeah,
well,
right?
And that's I wrote down like it's a
crazy.
big game of who said what.
Yeah.
When the two of them were having dinner, but I have to say, while they're having dinner, it didn't really help Nick's cause when he had a knife and was like,
oh my God.
And was like, she said that he was like jousting or something.
Twirling.
Yeah, baton twirling. And I was like, and he was like,
it's like, listen,
and there was nothing on the table.
I know, he's being accused of threatening somebody's life, and you're twirling a knife at the dinner table. It's like, you don't do that.
No.
That's...
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
As soon as he was doing that, I was like, really?
You can't look at that and be like, oh, he
couldn't you have grabbed your fork or your spoon and done that? Like, why the knife?
So,
you know?
Grab a sugar packet next time.
Anything.
Sugar.
Nick.
Nobody can get mad at sugar.
Come on, Nick.
So then it leaves Leha with more questions. So
Yeah.
Leah decides to set up a lunch with Lynne.
Right, because Susanna did nothing for her that night. Well, she kind of threw Lynne under the bus.
She did.
I'm kind of excited to see in the upcoming episodes, like when
Susanna and Lynne go head to head.
Yes, I feel like that might happen because it's just not. They're nuts.
Disaster.
Why
Well,
can't people just be good friends?
well, that's
You know?
the eternal problem with women.
Yeah.
For some reason, women always have had such a hard time. Like
The
guys,
cattiness.
you never get this with dudes.
That's so
dudes
true.
will hang out and just be like, if one person hurts another, they're like, "Hey, man, you really like hurt my feelings." Yeah, they don't even say
So true.
feelings. You really screwed up over this. Like you were a dick, and the guy's like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry."
Right.
Done.
And can I just tell
Under
you,
the
I
table.
feel like that's why, like, I've always liked you and why we became good friends.
'Cause I'm a
I've
dude.
always, because you're more of a dude. And you did say that you saw a psychic once and they told you that this
In
was
every
their
past
first
life, I was a man. Oh, feel bad for me because I'm a dude. No, I'm really. I always.
Shandy's
joke.
really a dude.
I
That's
actually,
what I'm saying.
when I was competing for Miss USA, and I had the private interview. So the girls, each girl, 51, all the 50 states, and then District of Columbia as well, all go in for a 4-minute interview with a panel of judges, and they ask you everything you can imagine off your fact sheet and whatever else. And one of the last questions they asked me, they said, "What is one thing that we would be surprised to learn about you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm really a dude." And then they're like, "Bing, time!" And internally I was like, "Oh." I just ended telling them I'm a dude at Miss USA. And then I was like, "Ha! Keep you guessing." And then walked out, and they laughed.
But you didn't get a chance to explain yourself that it.
Yeah, I was like, "Look, go Adam's apple."
Yeah.
So no, but I grew
I've
up in-
I've always gotten along better with guys than I have with girls. You
Most
know, for
women
whatever.
do.
Yeah, it's like.
and I grew up with 3 older guys or older brothers, and so I do feel like I'm more of a guy. But
Yes.
women naturally struggle with that, and Susie and I, like, forming Pageantology was so easy for us, which I think a lot of other women, it's hard to do something like that because women in general are very competitive, but especially pageant girls. And you'll see at pageants like girls that are trying to be friendly to each other, but you know deep down.
Did you? I have to ask you too. Something that happened on this episode when Leah went to Vanessa's house and Vanessa had a whole spread of like sweets and pastries and stuff, and Leah was like, "These pageant girls are always trying to fatten me up because they know like that she's like."
So true.
that
She
she's
said
competition."
every house she goes
Did that
to.
ever happen to you in a pageant? Because it did to me.
I don't think that did.
It happened when I was at Miss Universe in Panama. Miss Universe 2003. I can't remember if it was Miss Peru. One of the girls from South America showed up at rehearsal one day with a huge bag of candy. And she seemed so sweet, right? She's walking around, candy todos, candy para todo el mundo. And she's giving everybody candy. And I'm like, oh, she's so sweet. And I dig my hand in, not knowing. I mean, I first learned, by the way, what a hair extension was when I went to the Miss Universe pageant. Because I was like, why is everyone? And Amelia Vega. So I grabbed, thank God for Amelia. Amelia's sitting next to me at rehearsal, right? Our group isn't going up yet to rehearse. And I have a handful of candy. And Amelia's like, you do not eat that candy. And I'm like, what do you mean, Amelia? And she's like, don't eat it. She's trying to make you fat and bloated. And I was like, oh, that bitch.
Or she could have poisoned it and given you the runs.
I know. Amelia was like, you don't take food from these girls. You have no idea. She's like, Susie. She was like, take it. Thank God. Amelia took me under her wing and was like, you do not take anything from these girls because you have no idea. She goes, especially las Latinas. And I'm like, what? Those are my people.
That
I'm
is
like,
hilarious.
So mean.
Well, and that's how it is. And then now,
that's what they do.
You put these women who are fighting to be the youngest, the prettiest, the thinnest, the whatever, and you put them all together on this show, and you're gonna get so much cattiness.
And especially at that age, like you get girls that, I mean, I pray to God that when I get to be their age, I'm not like that. But
we're almost there.
I mean, I don't think so.
I think these women are only like in their they're as old as me.
No way.
Okay, so I just found out yesterday.
That's true. Lorianne is 29.
And I just found out yesterday
She's
that I'm
younger
36.
than I am.
I thought I was 35. No joke. And I was at Miss Teen USA 2003, Tammy Farrell's house. And I was like, oh my gosh, the other day I forgot how old I was. And I was like, it's never happened before. I always see how it happens, like my mom and like older women. And I was like, I did the math and I realized like, oh, okay, I'm 35. And I'm like, oh. And I'm telling the story to my boyfriend in the car. And he was like, you're not 35, you're 36. And I was like, what? No, wait, I did the math and I'm 35. And he was like, no, you're not. And he's like, do the math again. And I was like,
Wow.
I'm 36, so I had to text my girlfriend Tammy again. I was like, remember I did the math, I'm 35? I was wrong, I'm 36. And she was like, that's why I love you. So these women are our age, is what my point is. And
I know.
But thankfully, we've removed ourselves. I mean, we're still in the pageant arena because we're training girls, but what we're trying to do and what our slogan is for pageantology is redefining the modern beauty queen. Because we don't want that cattiness, that overly done up, that, I mean, we want a girl that when she washes her face and takes her hair down, she looks the same. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's so-and-so. It's not like, wait, where'd the beauty queen go?
Right.
So, but these women are very competitive and unfortunately not very loyal in their friendships. So Lynne,
do you think? No, I was just gonna. I think they're kind of. They've probably always been a little nasty, and that you can't get to accomplish like your big dreams that you have for yourself if you're a nasty human being. Like I'm such a huge believer of karma, and I feel like these women are now still trying to reach. Shelley, maybe not so much, but the other women are trying so hard to get that crown that they never got when they were younger. And now with, you know, all the cattiness, their attitude, the diva mentality, and then you add on to that age, and they see themselves aging and, you know, getting quote unquote less beautiful. They just see it as age as a negative thing, I think. And that enhances the nastiness, you know.
You're so right.
And I'd be shocked if in this entire season we see any one of these women win a pageant.
Yeah. You know what I would really like is if one of their husbands steps up and kind of puts his foot down and forces her, even though that maybe that's her dream to go after and to be in these pageants, but it's like enough's enough. Like let go of it. So that she can just, you know, age should be respected, and it's such a beautiful thing as someone ages. And I remember reading this thing one time of a pageant girl, actually, ironically enough, and she was talking about after her year and how she has more wrinkles now, but they're from smiling over joys or crying over, you know, going to a hospital with these kids. And every line and sunspot and whatever we get on our bodies, it's because of a life experience.
Sure.
And if we can get back to that, now I'm like, going a little too unrealistic.
If we could get back to that.
If we could only live like the Native Americans. So going back though, now Lynne and Leha meet up and have a showdown. And Lynne basically,
more fakeness.
Well, what we get is just lies. Lynne could not remember exactly what Nick said.
Yeah.
But I am sorry, saying that he wanted to kill her, that is a very large white lie. That's not a little white lie. That's something huge that is potentially very, very harmful.
Of course, especially for a cop, you know? Like Leha was saying, it's like, my husband's a cop. Like, this could end his career.
Very harmful.
What the hell? Like, you don't just say that. And I don't know if it was the way the show was edited or the way that scene was edited, but it just didn't seem right, you know? Like, Leha asked Lynne about, you know, did he threaten your life? And she never said yes, you know, and then they cut back to the scene, you know, and they kept doing that. And I was just a little confused,
well,
to tell you the truth. Because I'm like, did she say it? Did she not say it?
Well, I think the biggest red flag is not only did she not answer how she said it, but then she started to point fingers at all the other girls. And she said, oh, well, they say you can put lipstick on it, but it's still a pig, and they call you a man's vestite.
And a 40-footer.
And 40-footer, you're only attractive from 40 feet away. And it's like, oh, okay, now you're pointing fingers at everyone. Right. It's like the person who's like, does somebody smell a fart? It's probably you, and it came out of your buttocks.
Yes.
Like, if you smelled it, you dealt it. So you can't sit here and point the fingers at all these other people and be like, oh, the girls were also saying this and that. And it's like, now you're just making everyone angry.
Of course, and she was just trying to take herself off the hot seat. You know, she was trying, and I think maybe trying to salvage the relationship, but at the end of the day, she didn't. Because she was so wishy-washy. And of course, it's like such a red flag when you start talking about, well, so-and-so said this, and and then she started bringing all the other, throwing her friends under the bus.
Well, speaking, you said she tried to salvage the friendship. So she did say, like, oh, you know, I'd be so upset if this friendship ended.
Yeah, she put it out there.
Her face, though, did not look like she was really upset.
No.
Whereas Leha was actually crying.
She was crying.
She was like emotion, and you could see the betrayal that she felt and the sadness of losing a friend and all of you could see that on her face.
Listen, if Lynne was a good friend, instead of telling Leah at that lunch, hey, this girl called you a 40-footer, this girl called you this, and this girl called you fat, whatever, instead of reiterating all of that to her and like to her face, and now she feels like crap, total crap, because she's listening to what her friends supposedly, people who are supposedly her friends, are saying about her. Like, instead of saying that, when that happened, Lynne should have told the other girls, hey, listen, maybe we shouldn't be talking so badly about a friend of ours.
100%.
You know? It's like, that's when she should have said something, not now, when Leah is now trying to call you out for something totally different, by the way.
She participated in the conversation,
of course she did.
And now she's just trying to take the focus off of herself.
She is. And it's going to blow up in her face.
Yeah,
And
it totally is.
I can't wait.
Well, I think it'll be very fascinating. So, predictions of what to come.
Yeah, what do
I
you think?
Lynne is going down the tubes.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
Really?
I think Lynne is going to get a little bit, I mean, if you imagine, the girls are going to have a big showdown eventually, because now she's thrown everyone under the bus. Lynne has been like, the girl said this, the girl said that, the girls did this. She went on, and I think all the other girls are going to be like, excuse me, like, why are you throwing us under the bus? Because, you know, they're all thinking that she's lying about Nick, I think, and making these false accusations.
I think, I think Lynne is going to have a hard time soon coming up, because this is all going to blow up in her face.
But you know what, though?
Big time.
Out of everything that's super bad, something really good comes out of it. And so let's hope that when the girls confront Lynne on, you know, just not being a good friend, not being loyal, hopefully, instead of just defending herself and making excuses, hopefully she realizes, you know what, you're right. Like, I don't like living this way.
Yeah.
I'm going to change this about myself, and I'm going to be more loyal. Hopefully she gives a credible apology.
I don't know. I don't see it. I'm glad, though. This is interesting. You're being much more positive. I'm so negative right now. I'm like, these women suck for the most part. And I think that, I just think I think they're all going to go down in flames.
I will say this, and you all can agree with me on this.
Bella.
I will say this, that this is the type of a show that when you watch it as a woman, you feel better about yourself when all is said and done. So there's a positive you can take from this.
I feel awesome about myself. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me on Twitter at Susie Castillo.
And Shandi is at Shandi Finnessey.
And please follow us on Pageantology. We're at Pageantology 101. And that's it, guys. So we'll see you guys next week.
We'll be back with more drama from the pageant world, Game of Crowns. Be sure to tune in, and we'll see you guys then.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.